There we go. Hey, I'm on the freeway. I want to talk about the calendar, like this fantasy calendar, the real calendar, the only calendar, the calendar that we actually live by. The calendar with days like someday and never and maybe next Thursday if it doesn't rain. So in other words, it's sort of the real calendar. There's also days on there like today and tomorrow and maybe sometime. And so I'd like to make this thing. I don't know if I'm going to try to do a printed thing or something. That'd be really cool. But I wanted to whoa, getting on the freeway. I'm outside of Milan in northern Italy, Milano. Northern Italy, and it is foggy. Oh, and there's big giant trucks on the road. They do not care about little old me. And this is, by the way, if you're listening to this, this is it's more of a note to self, but I highly recommend doing this when you're on the road. And this is for me when the clarity comes around. This is when I have the ideas that I want to work through. And then it's when I have the time. I'm not driving on my own. I've got like a 2 more hours down to head to Florence, Italy to pick up my son. And it's also, I've had a day on my own, which I really enjoy. And then I've got the next several weeks, I'm going to be with friends and family and holidays, and it's going to be great. I love that. But I also love the me time, the alone time, because then that's often when the ideas come and when I have, I've got an hour of silence or an hour of music or an hour of podcast or audiobook, and that's when the ideas tend to blossom, sprout, to flourish. Flourish. How do you spell that? Fourish. Anyway, you get the idea. So back to the calendar. And if you're listening to this, please know that I'm all about creating, right? And I'm not really into excuses about why you're not creating. I find creation is like water, and I'm a big fan of water, not just drinking it, but the idea that water will find a way. If you look through the history of the world, the globe of, for example, how the Grand Canyon was made, or how any rock formation, or anything, pretty much any cavern or river or anything like that, you'll see that what water does is that water will find a way, right? And water can even take on different forms. It can turn into a gas. It can be in the air. It can turn into ice when it's cold. It can then reform and um, what's the word? Evaporate from water and go into the air as sort of water molecules that are, I think are they lighter than air? I don't know. They form a cloud. Somehow they stay up there in the atmosphere. And then they fall down again as water. And then they make a river and they move a mountain and they break open a rock because they are frozen and they break up in the rock. Okay, I'm getting a little sidetracked on the water thing, but back to, like water, this is creation. And I think when you have an idea, it's going to find a way to get out there. It's going to find a way to create its valley or its cavern, or it's going to get through. So let it, because your idea ain't going away. Your idea is it's there, and if you try to hold it back or try to keep it bottled up, it's going to explode at some point. It's going to turn into ice, and remember that it can, like a glacier, right? A glacier has a lot more patience than we do. And a glacier is just going to wait until it freezes enough, break open the rock, and then, form a valley or something, right? Okay, sure. I'm talking about millions, if not billions of years, but we don't have that much time. So back to the calendar. Here's some ideas of what I want to do with it. And why do I want to do this, by the way? Because I think I want to get one thing that happened recently is that I came to the brilliant conclusion that I found the time, and that's where I maybe I twisted in with my whole time thing about Chronos and Kairos. So I found the time. I found the element on the calendar when Bradley Charbonneau, will finally have all of my belongings from that are scattered around the world in different people's garages and attics and cellars and basements, when I will have them all together in one place in my house, and they'll be organized. And the time that that's going to happen is never. It's never going to happen. And I'm saying this with a little giggle, but also with some relief, because knowing this is never going to happen, it releases me from the burden of trying to fix it, of trying to make it all perfect, and being concerned about the the stuff in the shed at my sister's place in Flagstaff, or now recently the new storage unit in Berkeley, California, with Nina. So that used to be in Amy's garage. And then the stuff that was in my mom's attic in Los Angeles that got moved to her place in Scottsdale, and which ended up in Flagstaff. Or the stuff that's in now my sister-in-law's basement in Barneveld in the Netherlands. Or the things that are in our storage unit in Driebergen in the Netherlands. Or the stuff that's in Scheveningen. So I have stuff all around the world. And you know what? I'm kind of happy with the Never idea, and here's a little reason why. It's a little bit. I'm going to get a little morbid here, but both of my parents have passed away, and both of them wanted to be cremated, and we have spread their ashes not around the world, but in several places. And post note, not again. I'm going morbid here, but that's kind of how I like it. But forget death. I want to spread myself around the world while I'm alive. And I'm going to take Nina as an example. It's a longtime great friend from Berkeley. And if you're listening to this, Nina, first of all, I'm surprised you're listening to this. But if you are, shout out to Nina. Big hi to Nina. And she said, and this is exactly where we were on the exact same frequency of understanding. And she's like, you know what? This is kind of cool that you have this stuff here because we're sharing the storage unit, and that means we're going to hang out again. That means we're going to see each other. That means we're going to be in contact and talk about our stuff. And we're going to have lunch and have a burrito in Berkeley because we got to deal with our stuff in the storage unit. And I don't know about you, but I like my connections with people around the world. All right, I'm just going to, here's one thing that I'm so proud of. I'm a pretty modest guy usually, but I went to an international MBA program, 2 years long in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And the best thing I got out of it was that there were 80 nationalities. I think there was 120, 130 students, 80 nationalities in my class. And I'm still in touch with a lot of them. And I love that they're all around the world. In fact, I just drove through Milan, Italy, and I'm going to see a guy next week who was my roommate in my second year, Italian guy. So, all right, this thing is going all over the place, and I don't want to get over my 10 minutes. And I can't see my time, and I'm trying to pay attention to the road. By the way, 4 to 5 police officers don't recommend driving and recording at the same time. So don't quote me on this. But there we go. Calendar. That was a very long story about how I want the word never to be in the calendar. But you know what another word could be? Finally. So there you have it. There are my notes on this magical, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the magic calendar. Maybe it's the magic calendar that relieves us of our burdens and also tells us when we got to do things. Because there's another thing, I do a YouTube short every single day. I do a video sort of address every single Thursday. I do a newsletter every 17th of the month. So those are also on the calendar. All right, that's it. I don't know my time. I got to hit stop. I'm driving. I got to pay attention. I got to turn this thing off without getting pulled in. I'm thinking I'm over 10 minutes. Bye for now.